Hello, viewers. It's taken me a long time to get to the upper echelons of the Worthy Park range, and I kind of feel bad about that. If you are at all a serious spirits drinker and you like serious, characterful distillates, Jamaican rum is one of the places you should absolutely be going. It should be one of your first stops. And Worthy Park Distillery, sort of right in the center of the island in St. Catherine's Parish, has made itself a reputation as one of the best of the lot. It's a relatively new distillery. The site is very old, but the actual facility that they're using has only been up since about 2005. So they're roughly 16 years old. But in that time, their availability, both in their official bottlings more recently, and before that in the independent bottlings, we'll get to those in a little bit, has really put them on the map as far as just having a stellar reputation. They're also interesting in that they're, so far as I'm aware, the distillery on Jamaica most prominent for sort of making their own sugar still. They're not just bringing in molasses from someone else and making rum out of it. They're actually running a full sugar production facility and then using leftovers to make rum. The sugar being made at Worthy Park is apparently of extremely high quality, so it's one of the ways that Jamaica can still kind of compete in the international sugar market against the big characters like Brazil and China, is that they make really, really good sugar. Anyways, back to the rum. In the past, I have reviewed this Rum Bar Gold, 4-year-old. It's bottled at 40%, which is a little bit annoying, but the quality is absolutely stellar. It's all pot distilled. Everything Worthy Park makes is pot distilled. They only have a pot still, so they don't really have a choice. The 40% thing is annoying. I would still take it over other options like Plantation's Chaimaca. If I didn't need something that was a firebomb, I would actually take it over Smith & Cross. I think it's that good, for that $30-ish price range. But they do make some other offerings. This is their, my friend Mike Hooker on the Reddits kindly sent me 2 samples. And we've got the Worthy Park Single Estate. This is a blend of 6 to 10 year old rums. This one's probably bottled circa 2018. Bottled at 45%, so it's that little bit stronger, which I like. And then we got the super mega limited flashy 12-year-old that they did, bottled at 56% alcohol. I'm sorry. It's a 2006 vintage. This was quite expensive, $120 up. So, Mike was kind of trying to conserve the last of his bottles, so I only got this little 1-ounce sample, but I saved the rest of it for this video after writing my notes. This also bottled circa 2018 or so. So yeah, I wanted to just work through these to see, how much of a step up they are from the good old Rum Bar Gold. And just as a wild card, as a way to kick things off, I'm also going to be reviewing this. It's really hard to see with the glare in here, but this is XXX or XXX number 5, which is a collaboration between the Fine Drams site and the Aficionados Discord server, who's a bunch of mostly Reddit nerds who are sort of spirits aficionados, as you might imagine. This is an independent, they say St. Catherine Distillery, but it's Worthy Park. You can tell immediately from the nose. Pot distilled from molasses, aged 2 years in Jamaica, and bottled on the 9th of January 2020, so presumably probably made in 2017, I would think. Low esters, 67.7 grams per hectoliter AA. So 400 bottles, non-chill filtered, no additives, color, anything like that. And I think that no color stuff also goes for the rest of these. Worthy Park is generally undosed, which has been one of the things that's been contributed most to their success is this, they're just, they're giving you what they got sort of without messing with it too much. So we're gonna sample that, and then we're gonna nose and taste the stuff from the official range. The single estate, 45%, and then the upper level 12-year-old. All right, I've been yapping for how long we got? About 5.5 minutes now. So let's get some tasty notes on the table. All right, starting with the youngest here, which is the Independent. Now this is bottled at a considerably higher strength than even the 12-year-old. This is pretty much straight from, I suppose, either 1 or 2 barrels. I would guess 2. 65.0% ABV, and you can get it on the nose. It's very nippy. The alcohol is showing. So it's an extremely clean style of pot distillate. So we're not talking, tons and tons of rotting fruit and stuff. It's much more floral in its play. And the oak is having its say as well. So we're getting vanilla ice cream right off the bat. But you're going to cover your vanilla ice cream in olives, mixed olives, green and black, and a big old splash of seawater. Fennel, there's a lot of fennel. Turkish Delight. That is a dead giveaway that you're nosing some Worthy Park. The Turkish Delight, that kind of candied rosy note in there is just, that's such a common component of their distillate. You can spot it right away. There's a kind of fudgy note, almost like a less chocolate fudge, more coffee fudge, if that makes sense. You're making, you just put in a whole bunch of coffee grinds into your fudge as you were waiting for it to settle. There's a milk tea note in this, not the really nice, fashionable milk tea. This is the stuff you get made with Lipton's that you buy for like $2 at your local Chinatown. It's Hong Kong style milk tea. There's a peppery kind of like pepper and dried flowers kind of wrapped into each other. This is, again, it's very floral. And something more picturesque than that. It smells like the morning after a rain in the forest. I don't know. My grandparents used to have a little house in the woods back in the day, and this is kind of what it smelled like after it rained. You would just walk outside, and the leaves and the dirt and all that would be all wet. I mean, it's not a super duper complicated nose, but I mean, it's really nice. I don't think they were going, the folks who selected this were going for super complicated bottling. I think this is meant to be, a young, lightly aged, lightly, fermented pot distilled rum, and that's exactly what it is. So as much as, it really noses like a much, much stronger version of Rum Bar, even though Rum Bar is technically a little bit older. All right, on the palate. Yeah, very nippy. Alcohol is really in play there. So, as I usually do, if you've never watched these videos before, I'm gonna go through these neat, add some water in to try to bring them down, put them under pressure, get them to open up a little, and then go through them again to give them a final score. In this case, it really kind of needs it. This is at whatever this is, 65% alcohol. It's a little bit tough to take neat, even though I'm only drinking this in tiny sips. Much more coffee driven on the palate than on the nose. And there was a little bit of coffee on the nose. But on the palate, it's really just coffee grind city. Again, coffee grinds, that coffee fudge note, but it's also like a very vanilla-y fudge. So it's coffee vanilla fudge. The milk tea is back. The olives are back. The fennel is also back. But then on the back end, you get a really nice sort of oaky, tannic note. Ooh, almost lost that one. And tobacco, like Perique in particular. Sort of one of my favorite notes ever is Perique tobacco, and here it is. A sort of spicy, plummy, leafy tobacco note. Very peppery, also very floral at the same time. Also very olivey and seawatery. But it's still got that Turkish delight thing. And some gummy bears in there as well. This is extremely solid. It is not, by any means a top shelf sipper. It isn't, refined in I wouldn't call it that. But it's delightful. This is a very solid rum. I'm going to give this about 5 or 6 quarts of water, and we'll come back to it. 3. Well, we'll start with 4. I'm going to see if that's enough. Nope. Nope, needs 5. All right, moving on to the official range. Here we go. Worthy Park, single estate, 6 to 10 year old rum, 45% ABV. I mean, the nose is similar. It's you can tell it's from the same distillery. It's got that. I mean, obviously the alcohol and nip is not anywhere near as strong. But I mean, the family resemblance is immediate. Not as sort of desserty, ice creamy, vanilla-y as the XXX, the XXX5. But it's more. The oak is stronger, but the dessert element is less, if that makes sense. I'm still getting Turkish delight. Yeah, it's like oaky seawater, if that makes sense. Like, if you, for some unknown reason, aged seawater in oak, you might get a little bit of this. And some kind of really strong cafe drink, like a cortado or something. Turkish delight, fruit pies, kind of a nuttiness, like a baklava note. You ever had like really rustic maple syrup, like B-grade maple syrup? That's a little bit what's going on here. It's not the nice. This is the baking stuff. And of course, you have the sort of standard pot distillate notes of olives and licorice. This is also less floral than the XXX. A little bit of banana. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some higher ester rum kind of thrown in the mix here. It's very much in the background though. A little banana. And then some cola cubes. I assume from the oak, but it's probably more. All these notes are sort of a fusion of oak and distillate, ultimately. And on the palate, so I was saying the XXX came off as kind of peppery and had a little some tannins going on in the background. This is more of that. This is more oaky, more peppery. It's just like a fried green tomato note in there, like a little bit of tomato. Fennel. I'm going to be saying a lot of fennel a lot in this video. Fennel, something kind of green and leafy, like I don't know, like fresh leaves that you just pulled off a tree. A little bit. Olives. I'm going to be saying olives a lot in this too. Just straight up English breakfast tea. Vanilla, but not like desserty vanilla. Not like ice cream vanilla like here. This is more just like vanilla essence that you're just chugging for some reason. Shot of espresso. RC cola. Banana, more banana peel than actual sort of banana fruit, or even plantain more so than banana. And the floral notes are there, but they're much more in the background than on the XXX. It's nice. It's so right off the bat, it's more drinkable than the XXX was, but that's just because of the strength. So it's really going to be a tale of like, we're going to go back through these and see what happens, you know, when they're sort of brought to roughly the same alcohol content. I like that. Again, it's not killing me, or it's not thrilling me too much. Not killing. It's been a long day. But I like it. It's very, very solid. The price point on this is something like 60, 70 bucks. It's a little high, but I mean, the quality is pretty good. All right, moving on to the 12-year-old 2006. This is the Cadillac version. Okay, we are in Foursquareville. Hand this to me blind, and you know, I might figure out eventually, but right on the nose, I'm thinking Foursquare. It is extremely fruity, sort of a cherry cough syrup fruitiness. The oak has started to kind of pile and layer on top of itself, sort of Buffalo Trace antique collection style, you know, stag style. But then, you know, more in the background, you're getting those more usual fennel, olive, you know, slight tobacco notes. The Turkish Delight is there, but again, kind of in the background. Vanilla fudge, black pepper again. Overstewed tea, like just overstewed Lipton's. Cola cubes, but also actual cola in there. That espresso note again. Some fruit cake, some spice cakes. No, not spice cake. Cinnamon babka of all things. Definitely something kind of cinnamony bready. And a kind of just mixed miscellaneous pipe tobacco notes. Some of those being cased, some of them with different flavorings, fruit flavorings. Actually, yeah, this is like flavored pipe tobacco. You know, like your grandpa used to smoke that had the fruit flavorings. That is exactly what this smells like. Except there's a lot of fennel and olive in there to kind of remind you that it's a rum. It smells very Foursquare-like, which is to say it smells very, you know, modern bourbon-like. This is very wood-driven. On the palate, oh, quite good. But again, you know, Foursquare-like. Tons of, you know, cherry fruity pastries. The fruity tobacco notes again, the case tobacco, pineapple, old man tobacco, pineapple cake, like upside down cake. The black pepper notes, a little orange coming through. Oriental tobacco as well as the sort of fakey old man tobacco. Yeah, vanilla. The extract again, not ice cream. Milk tea again. Olives, but almost like candy olives, like, if that makes sense. But then fennel, The orange peel component is very nice. A little hair bit awkward on the finish, actually. It's still very drying and woody, but it's almost like somebody flipped a switch. You have all these other flavors kind of going along, and they're nice. And then they just cut off, and all I'm left with is, you know, oak and pepper. It's not, the transition into the finish is not my favorite thing. It's good. It's very good. Is it 120 bucks good? You know, plus now, I guess. Well, let's add some water to it and see how it reacts. All right, let's do 2 squirts to start with. See if that's enough. Like half a squirt more, I think. It's good, but my first impression is I think Foursquare is doing the Foursquare thing better than Worthy Park is. Yeah, I'm a little bit puzzled by the 12. But let's go back through and see if it gets any better. All right. Back to the XXX number 5. Again, 2 years old. We've taken it down from 65% to somewhere in the 40s, I suppose. I don't have a hydrometer. I'm not going to do a test on camera. So on the one hand, I am getting like more of a bananas Foster note, which I associate more with oak. But beyond that, it's really the distillate that's starting to come out with and play more with the addition of water. Much more savory now with, like, there's some herbs. There's a lot more seawater now. The fennel notes, that sort of kind of wet forest note is really kind of stepping forward, and the sort of ice creamy stuff is really pulling back. This has suddenly actually become a more serious rum than it was when I first poured it. I mean, ultimately, you know, maybe a little cappuccino in there. Ultimately, it's still pretty simple. But I mean, for the price they're asking for, this is like 30 euros or something. Well, don't quote me on that, but it's very inexpensive on Fine Drams, and for what you're getting, I mean, you know, the strength you're getting, the quality of the distillate, despite it being low ester, do not come into this thing. It's, you know, it's a funk bomb. This is not that. But this is a bit of a bargain. You could throw this into Mai Tais all day and it would really work well. All right, on the palate. Ooh. So what that did was it immensely improved the mouthfeel on this. This is actually quite big and mouth coating now. Much more peppery also, and it was already really peppery to begin with. I think it's just the quality of the presentation. The fact, you know, no chill filtration, the extreme strength of the cask. I think, yeah. I mean, the presentation is winning this, and it's winning my palate. Lots of pepper, coffee, tons of coffee. More grinds than actual sort of drinking coffee. This is, you know, you reached into your espresso grinder and just took out whatever was remaining in there. You know, in that little chute that you can never quite get clean. Imagine you just reached in there and grabbed a bunch of old grinds and threw them into your mouth, but it was delicious somehow. And that's most of the development that's happened. So not a profound development on this. Aside from the really drastic improvement in the mouthfeel. Oh, that's nice. You know, and the bananas and the olives and the seawater thing is still there, and the Turkish delight thing. the floral stuff. This is really nice. It's not, again, not profound, not going to change any lives, but it's exactly what it needs to be for this kind of price point. This is the kind of thing I like to see. I'm going to score this 84 plus. Yeah, I like this a lot. I think there's a bunch of bottles left. So, you know, if you're sipping or making Mai Tais or, I mean, friggin' daiquiris or anything, I mean, just, you can grab a bottle of this. It's real good. It's a little bit of a deal. Yep, 84 plus. Let's leave it there. All right, moving on to the moving back, I should say, back to the Worthy Park single estate. Okay, since I've been leaving this, I did remember to squirt this with water, didn't I? I can't back up now, but I hope I did. Not a whole lot of development in this. There's a little more oakiness, a little more coffee, and the Turkish light note has kind of crawled out a little bit more. A little more peppery. And what is that? And the sort of Lipton's tea note, which okay, maybe that's just a thing in Worthy Park. The Lipton's tea note is also starting to creep out a little bit more. So it's not, you know, like really good English breakfast tea anymore. It's just good old Lipton's, or rather sort of Hong Kong milk tea, I should say. And that's okay. I mean, it's still a nice nose. I'm enjoying it. On the palate, again, not a whole lot of development. Gets a hair bit thin. I mean, still really good. I'm struggling to think of what to say in addition to this. Really good. Man, I mean, for the, what, 60, 70 bucks they're charging, I would love to see more. This feels, I hate to say it, this feels like it was designed to be a little bit too safe, a little bit too accessible. And that's okay. I mean, if your price point is, you know, 30, 40 bucks, but when you're talking about something in the 60s, when you're beginning to compete with, you know, Hamden in rum, but also like think of some of the single malts you're looking at in that kind of price range. You really need to start to get distinctive, and this has those characteristics, but they're kind of hanging about in the background. I think throwing some more high ester stuff in the blend here would really bring it up. Yeah, it's nice. So I would say, oh, what would I give this? This is an 83 plus. I do like it more than the Rum Bar Gold, but not by that much. I mean, there's more stuff going on. The presentation is a little bit better, 45 versus 40. I don't think it's actually that much of a, you know, of a bump. This feels like it's trying to be really wood forward, but without actually having the having a distillate that sort of rewards really wood forwardness. Yeah, 83 plus. It's good, but man, I mean, I'd like to see more. And let's leave it at that. And going back to the 12-year-old. Nosing the 12-year-old with water added. I mean, it's kind of just, you know, second verse, same as the first. Yeah, not really a whole lot of change at all. It's just I mean, it's fruity, it's tobacco-y, it's, vanilla-y, it's cakey. I mean, it smells like Foursquare by way of Jamaica, and that's okay, but I think Foursquare is doing the Foursquare thing better. On the palate, nothing really new. It does come together quite nicely. Feels like an integrated, sophisticated sipper. Very modern. The wood is definitely in charge here, not the distillate and not the esters. But it is very, very good. You just have to like this style of distillate. And here's the problem: you have to kind of look past the Foursquare section that's sitting right next to this, and decide what the heck I'm going to spend my money on Jamaica and Worthy Park instead. And I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that that's a good deal, that you'd be making the right decision. I would act between like this thing at $1.20 and just standard, vintage, say 2007, 2008 Foursquare, around 80, 90. I would go with the Foursquare. I would give this 88 points. It's very, very good. It's not really my style. It's not really my thing. I can appreciate the quality, but I can also appreciate that, Foursquare is just doing it better. And here's the real problem with this. So I kind of knew this would be coming, so I decided to bring this and set it on the side here. This is the Habitation Velier 2005 bottling of Worthy Park. So made in the year that they first started distilling. It's 10-year-old. This was also around $90. So competing right in that same Foursquare vintage range, and $30 less than the Worthy Park 2006 12-year-old. And I like this far more. It's far more distillate forward. The oak is a little bit dialed back. And this is kind of the problem. I mean, it's why if Velier can make something like this and put it out with the assistance of Worthy Park. I mean, I think the distillery was involved in the bottling of this stuff. Why can't Worthy Park do it themselves? Why are they looking to, attract a different kind of crowd that just, isn't going to drop $1.20 on a rum when Foursquare is there and when bourbon is there? Like, that's, you have to appreciate the elephant in the room there. Like, unless your product is like super distinctive and interesting in its own right and kind of sets itself apart, and Worthy Park can do that. I mean, this is terrific stuff. This is not even the best, apparently. Like the 2007 Velier apparently is better than this, and I really like this stuff. If you're not doing distinctive, you're just going to get lost in the crowd. You might be making something safe that no one's going to get upset about, but you're not going to attract the nerds that are going to spread the word. And that's kind of my opinion on this. Yeah, I mean, I really hate to say this, but the little XXX5 for the money that Fine Drams is asking, and for the Aficionados nerds are asking, is kind of the winner here in terms of value. I mean, the 12 obviously wins on points, so we're going what, 84 plus, 83 plus, and 88. But I mean, you could get what, 3 bottles of this for the price of one of these, and that's just not how it should be. So yeah, I'd love to see Worthy Parks step up their game, at least in their official bottlings. Throw in some higher ester stuff, dial back the oak a little bit, and just see what people like. Pay attention to what the independent bottlings are doing, right? I mean, that can be a kind of canary in the coal mine. Just like see how people are reacting to those, let your official bottlings be dictated by the style that seems to be, picking up there. And I don't know, that's kind of all I got to say about Worthy Park at this point. Terrific distillery, amazing potential. Just in my opinion, not super realized in their current range. Although I do like Rum Bar Gold. This is great stuff. That's it. You can stop watching now. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful and educational, entertaining and stuff. And cheers.